Hi, in this video I start a new experiment with my two Raspberry Pis, RaspberryPi1 on the left, RaspberryPi2 on the right, connected through flat cables with breadboard, and you can see 6 green LEDs. And the objective for this experiment is that after each LED on one side a signal will be given, and then a LED from the LED from the other side will burn, and so on. And I will do this both in Python and in C++. So let's see how this works out. First, of course, I have to decide which pins I will use to connect to the LEDs, and how I will signal the other Raspberry. So enough to find out and to experiment. So let's start. So for the LEDs, the LEDs, to be accessible from the GPIO, let's first start by setting things the way they should. Importing the GPIO, then making time available, also important letting it know that I use it for the board. Also important is which pin to use and for what. I have 3 LEDs on each side, and this is the RPi1 side. So I will copy this line another 2 times, and let's use 12 and let's use 29. I also have an input to use, because after each LED is set, a signal will go to the other side, for which I need an input. And let's use 11 for this. And to finalize the first thing is that I have to set the output of 7 to true, and then have it sleep for 2 seconds. And last but not least, a cleanup. Will this work? Well, for now it won't work, because I have to put resistor in front of each LED which I use. So this is a piece of code I will save it right now. And yes, the former experiment with the walking LEDs, LEDs, I used GPIO LED. So I will use capitals. V2 dot, well, PI is added automatically. So V2 and then 1. Let's keep it to this. This is one piece of the code that lets just one LED burn. And that's all for it for this LED, because I have to set up the exact LED yet. So let's first do that. And before I forget, I have to do everything the same for the RPi2 as well. To build the circuit up nicely, I will use pin 7 as I earlier showed. Put the resistor in. And in order to save myself the trouble of relocating the LED, I put it a bit wider. And then I also have to make a bridge or jump wire from here to the mass. And this is the mass, if I recall correctly. So now I notice something else, because this side of the LED is the minus, so I should put the resistor here, which means that either I have to turn the thing around and then a jump wire to this mass or something else. So that's a good question. Let's relocate this one, which is quite easy. So I put the resistor in here, connect it in here, and then with a very nice jump wire like this. So now it is from the from pin 7 to the resistor, through the resistor, through the LED, and then to the mass. So let's see if that works. And that should work for 2 seconds. And as you can see, it burned for 2 seconds, so that part is working correctly. And after that I should have it fade away and then run this LED. So let's put that into program. Now that the first LED is set up and this program has run once, the point is to document everything, so let me start with that. This is the first LED, this will be the second one, and this will be the third one. And this one is an input from the GPIO from RPi2. So I will let this be a response to, let's say, LED 2. Input from RPi2. Which pin that will be, I'll have to find out yet. Another point is you saw how the first LED went on for 2 seconds and then went off, but that's a cleanup. Of course, this program has to grow, and for that I have to add 7 false, because the more code here will be, the more clear I have to be that LEDs will be put off again. And in order to give a signal to the RPi2 after this one, I don't have to program that, because that will be a signal to the input of the RPi2, which is here, and this is of course the primary setup now. So that will have to answer with switching on a LED in the same way. But for now I think this can do. What I will do is setting the other pins, and I can of course copy that. Saving some time. And then this will be 29. So these are the 3 LEDs that will burn from the RPi1 side. And I think next time it's time to get the second LED, or the first LED on the RPi2 side, for a signal from here. So then I will have to define an input pin from after this one. So we'll see how that will work. In the meantime, let me finish with showing the first LED once again. but in this time all three will burn, since I've put the code like that, and they will each burn after another for 2 seconds. And I'm curious how this will be, by the way, in C++. Regarding the problems that I experienced with my former experiment, so I might do that in parallel, but for now let's see how this works out. No problems expected. So let's first give this and then go over to the camera. So with these new lines of code in Python, let's run them, which by the way is not possible, as I notice now, since these don't have their resistors yet. So I can only run once, one LED, as you can see, and the rest won't run. So I have to figure this out a little bit, and which one is ground, and then I can run them. But I guess it's wiser and nicer for the experiment to go really from this LED to this LED through the RPi2. So in the meantime, thank you for watching this start of the new experiment, and to be continued.